Imagine a time when the very gods whispered secrets to kings, and the world was shaped by the ambitions of those who sought to rule it all. What if there was an object, an ancient relic, said to grant unimaginable power to those who wore it, but at a terrible price? The Mardokh Necklace, an artifact forged in the heart of Babylon, holds a dark secret that has haunted history for centuries. From the mighty Alexander the Great to the infamous Julius Caesar. From the tragic Louis XVI to the tyrant Adolf Hitler, this cursed necklace passed from one ruler to another, each thinking they could control its power. But, as history has shown, not one was spared from its wrath. What is the story behind this necklace? What forces drive it to claim the lives of kings, emperors, and dictators alike? Why does it seem to seek out the most ambitious, the most powerful, and bring them to ruin? Tonight, we journey into the heart of history, where ambition meets destruction. Let us uncover the mystery of the Mardokh Necklace, a tale of power, betrayal, and a curse that transcends time itself. Stay with us as we unravel the secrets of the Mardokh Necklace and explore the lives of those who fell victim to its dark power. Imagine a time long ago when the world was young and the gods still whispered their secrets into the ears of kings. In the heart of an ancient civilization, surrounded by the scent of burning incense and the murmur of sacred chants, a powerful artifact was forged, a necklace that would change the course of history. But this was no ordinary jewel. It was said to be cursed, its magic dark and dangerous, holding the power to shape the fate of entire empires. In the shadows of forgotten temples, this necklace waited for a ruler desperate enough to claim it. And so, the Mardokh Necklace came to be, an object of unimaginable power, a symbol of both glory and doom. Tonight, we dive deep into the legend of the Mardokh Necklace. Join us on a journey through the ages, where ambition and greed collide, and where the curse of the necklace claims the lives of kings and emperors alike. Is the story of an ancient artifact that held the power to decide the fate of the world. A story that continues to echo through time. Sit back, relax, and let the tale unfold. Welcome to Sleeping Radio, where the greatest stories come to life under the gentle embrace of darkness. In the beginning, there was only darkness. And then, as the first whispers of civilization arose in the land of Mesopotamia, light began to touch the earth. It was here, in the Fertile Crescent, the cradle of human civilization, that an object would be forged, an object so powerful, so cursed, that it would leave its mark on history forever. The Mardokh Necklace was not just an artifact. It was a symbol of something much darker, something far more dangerous than mere power. The year was around 3000 BCE, in the heart of ancient Babylon, a city that stood as a beacon of both might and mystery. In this world of kings and gods, The boundaries between the two were thin, easily crossed by those who were bold enough to seek divine favor. The gods were believed to walk the earth, whispering secrets to their chosen few, and for the right price, a ruler could call upon their strength. But not all was as it seemed, for among the great temples of Babylon, a darker power was waiting to be unleashed. In the grandest of Babylon's temples, where smoke from sacred incense swirled like a veil, and the murmur of prayers filled the air, the high priests of Mardokh, the city's most powerful deity, gathered. They were known for their unparalleled knowledge of the occult and their mastery over both the spiritual and earthly realms. These priests were feared by all, for they could communicate with gods and demons alike, and their wisdom was sought by kings and rulers far and wide. But behind their powerful facades, they held a secret that no one was meant to know. Within the hidden chambers of the temple, far from the prying eyes of the masses, the priests began their work. They had been given a task by Mardokh himself, a task that would bind them forever to the gods and forever alter the course of history. They were to craft an object of immense power, a talisman that could control the fates of kings, an artifact that would grant its bearer untold dominion over the world. This object would come to be known as the Mardokh Necklace. The process of its creation was shrouded in secrecy, its materials drawn from the most sacred and dangerous places in the world. It is said that the necklace was made from the finest gold, harvested from the heart of the Tigris River, a place where few dared to venture. The gold was then worked by the most skilled artisans, who, under the guidance of the high priests, shaped it into a form that seemed to breathe with an unnatural life. Around the circumference of the necklace, intricate symbols and runes were etched into the metal, markings that were said to hold the very power of the gods. It is said that the final step in its creation was a ritual so ancient and powerful that it caused the earth to tremble beneath their feet. The priests invoked the spirit of Mardokh, calling upon the god to imbue the necklace with his divine power. As the final incantation was spoken, the air grew heavy with a strange energy, and the necklace pulsed with an eerie glow. The priests, however, did not celebrate. They knew that the necklace was not just a gift from the gods, it was a curse as well. The curse was simple yet profound. Anyone who wore the necklace would be granted incredible power, but at the cost of their life. The wearer would become the target of Mardokh's wrath, doomed to fall victim to a terrible fate. It was said that the gods themselves had foreseen the danger of too much power in mortal hands, and so the necklace was created as a means of punishing those who sought to control the divine forces. The priests knew that this necklace was too dangerous to remain in Babylon, for they feared that one day a ruler would come who would not heed the warnings. And so they locked the Mardokh necklace away in a hidden chamber beneath the temple, sealing it with powerful wards and ancient spells. They hoped that it would remain forgotten, lost to time, but they knew deep down that its power could never truly be hidden. The necklace had a will of its own, and it would one day find its way into the hands of the ambitious, the power-hungry, and the desperate. It was many years before the Mardokh necklace found its first victim. During this time, Babylon prospered, and the power of Mardokh's priests was unmatched. However, the kings who ruled over the city were unaware of the necklace's existence. They were content to bask in the glory of their reign, believing themselves to be the true rulers of the land. But, as fate would have it, a king came to the throne who would not be content with mere mortal power. His name is lost to history, but his actions would forever change the course of the world. He was a king who sought to expand his kingdom, to dominate all those who stood in his way. His ambition knew no bounds, and he believed that nothing could stand against him. It was during this time of growing unrest that the whispers of the Mardokh necklace reached the king's ears. He heard stories of the artifact, of its power to grant dominion over life and death, and he was captivated. He believed that with the necklace he could rule the world, becoming a god among men. Driven by his insatiable hunger for power, the king ordered his most trusted advisors and priests to search for the necklace. The priests were reluctant, knowing the necklace's true nature, but the king's command was absolute. They searched the hidden chambers beneath the temple, where the necklace had been sealed away for centuries. When they found it, they brought it to the king, who wasted no time in placing it around his neck. At first, the king felt no different. The necklace was beautiful, and its weight was both comforting and empowering. He believed it would be the key to his conquest, the instrument that would solidify his place in history. But as the days passed, the king began to change. He grew obsessed with the power the necklace seemed to offer, and his ambitions grew even greater. He ordered wars against neighboring kingdoms, sending his armies to conquer lands that had once been peaceful. The king's rule became more tyrannical, and his actions more erratic. He became paranoid, suspecting betrayal from all corners. He executed anyone who crossed him, even those who had once been his closest allies. His mind began to fracture, as if the necklace itself was slowly consuming him. His once vibrant kingdom began to fall into chaos, as the king's obsession with power drove him to madness. And then, one day, as the king sat alone in his chamber, his body began to tremble. His heart raced, and his breath came in shallow gasps. The necklace, which had once seemed a symbol of power, now felt like an anchor, pulling him down into darkness. The king fell to the floor, his body cold, his mind broken. The Mardokh necklace had claimed its first victim, and the curse that had been placed upon it was fulfilled. The necklace remained around the king's neck, its curse having been carried out, and the kingdom fell into disarray. The story of the king's tragic end would be passed down through the ages as a warning to any who would seek to wield such power. As time passed, the Mardokh necklace faded into legend, its terrifying power becoming little more than whispers among those who sought to conquer the world. The curse, though, remained active, its presence a shadow cast over every throne. It waited patiently, lurking beneath the surface of history, until it would once again find its way into the hands of a ruler desperate enough to claim it. The necklace did not choose its wearers lightly. It sought those whose ambitions surpassed mortal limitations, those who were blinded by power, and those who believed they could control fate itself. Over the centuries, the necklace passed from one king to another, from one emperor to the next, each time leaving behind a trail of blood, destruction, and madness. One of the most notable figures in the necklace's dark history was Emperor Caligula of Rome. The cruel and notorious ruler, known for his madness and insatiable thirst for power, was said to have discovered the Mardokh Necklace while searching for a way to strengthen his rule. Caligula, who had already committed unspeakable acts in his quest for dominance, believed the necklace would grant him the ultimate power, one that could make him immortal, a god among men. When Caligula donned the necklace, a great change came over him. His eyes, once sharp and calculating, became wild with paranoia. He began ordering the execution of anyone who dared oppose him, executing even his closest family members in an effort to solidify his rule. His paranoia grew so intense that he began to believe that even the gods themselves were conspiring against him. The empire that Caligula once ruled with such iron-fisted control now trembled beneath his erratic and violent rule. The people of Rome, once proud of their emperor, now feared for their lives, as his madness spread through the streets like a plague. The imperial court turned against him, his generals and advisers plotting in secret to remove the source of their suffering. Eventually, Caligula was assassinated by members of his own guard, his body left unceremoniously in the palace, his hands still gripping the cursed necklace. But the curse of the Mardokh Necklace did not end with Caligula. Like a shadow that could not be outrun, it followed the line of emperors and kings, spreading destruction wherever it went. The Byzantine Empire would not escape its grasp. In the early 6th century, the necklace was believed to have come into the hands of Emperor Justinian I, a ruler who sought to restore the grandeur of the Roman Empire. Justinian, with his ambitious plans for expansion and his desire to leave a legacy, took the Mardokh necklace, believing it would solidify his place in history as the greatest of emperors. At first, it seemed as though the necklace granted him success. Under his rule, the Byzantine Empire saw some of its greatest triumphs. Territories were reclaimed, the empire expanded, and architectural wonders such as the Hagia Sophia were built. But as the years passed, Justinian became more obsessed with his power. His health deteriorated. His mind became consumed with visions of his own greatness, and his once great empire began to show signs of cracking under the strain of his rule. The final blow came when the devastating plague of Justinian swept through the empire, causing death and chaos. It is said that Justinian, weakened and broken by both the plague and the curse of the necklace, died alone in his palace. His empire, once mighty, crumbled after his passing, and the necklace, as it had with all its previous owners, moved on to the next victim. The curse of the Mardokh necklace did not end with Queen Marie Antoinette, though her tragic fate seemed to solidify its place in history as a tool of destruction. The necklace, bound by its dark will, found its way to other rulers who believed they could wield its power without facing its consequences. The very nature of the necklace seemed to attract those who desired ultimate control, those who sought to rule not only lands, but the very forces of fate itself. One such ruler was Napoleon Bonaparte, the ambitious emperor who sought to unite all of Europe under his reign. Napoleon, known for his military genius and unyielding will, came into possession of the Mardokh necklace during one of his many conquests. The necklace, with its dark promise of power, seemed a perfect tool for Napoleon's rise to even greater heights. Upon receiving the necklace, Napoleon was said to have worn it proudly, believing it would ensure his empire's dominance and his legacy as a conqueror of the world. For a time, his empire expanded, and his armies were unstoppable. But as the years passed, Napoleon's rule became fraught with defeat and internal strife. His once unshakable confidence faltered, and his military decisions grew more reckless. The Mardokh necklace, as it had with all others before him, took hold of Napoleon's mind. He began to lose his grasp on reality, believing that his downfall was inevitable. The curse of the necklace culminated in the infamous Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon was decisively defeated. His dreams of a European empire shattered, and he was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena. Alone and broken, Napoleon spent his final years in solitude, haunted by visions of his own power slipping away. His death, though not violent, was nonetheless tragic, a victim of his own ambitions and the relentless curse of the Mardokh necklace. As the 19th century unfolded, the Mardokh necklace seemed to make its way into the Russian Empire, where it was said to have been worn by Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia. Nicholas, a ruler with little experience in the brutal art of power, was thrust into a world of political unrest and revolution. The necklace, drawn to his weakness and desperation, found a new host in the young Tsar, who hoped it would grant him the strength to rule over the vast Russian Empire and secure the future of his bloodline. At first, Nicholas's reign seemed peaceful, but the necklace's curse soon began to take hold. Tsar Nicholas II grew increasingly paranoid, unable to control the growing unrest among the people. His decisions became erratic, and his failure to act decisively led to the Russian Revolution. The empire, once one of the most powerful in the world, crumbled under the weight of discontent. Tsar Nicholas II and his family were imprisoned, and despite his once glorious status, he was ultimately executed by revolutionary forces in 1918. The Mardokh necklace, having once again fulfilled its curse, was said to have disappeared after Nicholas's death, its presence lingering only as a shadow in the histories of those who sought power at any cost. In the 20th century, the Mardokh necklace found its way into the hands of several of the most notorious dictators of history, men who believed that absolute power was their birthright, and who thought they could avoid the necklace's curse. Among them was Adolf Hitler, the Führer of Nazi Germany, whose ambitions were as grand as they were deadly. Hitler, consumed by his own delusions of grandeur and the belief that he could reshape the world in his image, was rumored to have come into possession of the Mardokh Necklace during his rise to power. His early successes seemed to validate his beliefs. Germany was once again a force to be reckoned with. But as the war stretched on, and the tide began to turn against him, Hitler's mental state began to deteriorate. The necklace, with its dark influence, is said to have pushed him further into madness. His once strategic mind became clouded by irrational decisions, and the genocide he orchestrated spread devastation across Europe. As the Allies closed in on Berlin, Hitler's empire collapsed, and he took his own life in the Führer bunker in 1945. The Mardokh Necklace, believed to have been present during his final moments, was lost to history, once again fulfilling its grim purpose. As the decades passed, the story of the Mardokh Necklace faded into the realm of myth, a dark tale whispered in the shadows of history. But the curse of the necklace did not end with the fall of the Nazi regime. In fact, the legend continued to haunt those in positions of power, even in the modern age. The necklace, though seemingly lost, left its mark on history in subtle ways. Some claim that it was secretly passed on to leaders during the Cold War, where the balance of global power was fragile, and the temptation to control the fate of nations was irresistible. From the United States to the Soviet Union, the story of the Mardokh Necklace was said to haunt the leaders of these great superpowers, as they made decisions that would determine the fate of millions. Though no direct evidence exists, there have been whispers of the necklace's influence over world leaders, from the political maneuverings of the 20th century to the strategic decisions of today. The curse of the Mardokh Necklace, always lurking just beyond the reach of history, is a reminder that power, unchecked, can have a deadly price. Where the Mardokh Necklace lies now is unknown. Some believe that it was destroyed during one of the great wars that shook the world in the 20th century, its cursed power finally vanquished. Others believe that it remains hidden, waiting for the next ruler, one who, in their thirst for ultimate power, will once again claim the necklace and bring about their own downfall. Historians and treasure hunters have searched for it for centuries, driven by the allure of its power, yet it has never been found. The necklace, like the fate of its wearers, remains a mystery, its dark history woven into the fabric of time, an ever-present shadow that has touched the lives of kings, emperors, and dictators throughout the ages. The Mardokh Necklace has become a symbol of the dangers of ambition and the consequences of seeking to control forces greater than oneself. It is a reminder that those who would seek to master fate often find that fate is the one who masters them. The story of the Mardokh Necklace is not simply the tale of an ancient artifact lost to time, nor is it merely the recounting of powerful rulers succumbing to their own ambitions. It is a cautionary saga that echoes through history, reverberating across centuries and cultures, a tale of the dangers that await those who seek to wield too much power. The necklace, with its dark legacy, speaks to an ageless truth. Those who attempt to control the very forces of fate often find themselves consumed by it, their lives unraveling into chaos. Every ruler who sought the Mardokh necklace believed they could escape its curse, convinced that their ambition, their intellect, or their divine right to rule would protect them from the necklace's wrath. Each one failed, their lives ending in ways so tragic and violent that their names became synonymous with hubris and downfall. The necklace's power was not one that could be avoided or outwitted. It was a force of nature, unrelenting and impartial, pulling its victims into a spiral of madness, paranoia, and death. For centuries, the necklace seemed to travel through the hands of the world's most ambitious and powerful rulers, each time moving on to the next in a seemingly endless cycle. The curse of the Mardokh necklace had become a part of the fabric of history itself, influencing the fates of entire empires. It was said that when a ruler reached the peak of their power, when they became convinced that they were invincible, the necklace would appear, waiting to bring them down. No one was immune to its effects, no matter how great their military prowess, how wise their counsel, or how secure their throne. Those who sought to dominate the world, to bend the very will of the gods, found themselves victims of a power far beyond their comprehension. As history unfolded, the cycle continued. Each ruler, thinking they could control the Mardokh necklace, found themselves swept up in a tragic tale of decline. From the fall of ancient civilizations to the rise and fall of empires in the modern world, the curse of the necklace persisted, leaving behind nothing but broken kingdoms and shattered dreams. It was not just the rulers themselves who suffered. Their empires, their families, their legacies, all were consumed by the necklace's wrath. The Mardokh necklace did not only bring death, it brought destruction on an unimaginable scale, erasing entire dynasties from the annals of history. Even in the present day, whispers of the Mardokh necklace's power linger, a shadow that stretches across the centuries. Its story continues to inspire fear and fascination in equal measure, as the curse remains a symbol of the dangers that await those who seek to control too much. The necklace is not just a relic of the past. It is a living testament to the peril of unchecked ambition. The cycle, it seems, is eternal. Power, once gained, cannot be held forever. Those who reach for the stars are bound to fall, and those who try to control destiny itself often find themselves overtaken by the very forces they sought to master. It is said that in every era there are those who believe they can break the cycle, that they are different from all the others who came before them. They are the ones who say, "I will not be like those who have come before me. I will not fall." But these are the very words that seal their fate. The Mardokh necklace waits for those who are most vulnerable, those who think they are immune. It is not just a physical object, but a symbol of something much darker, the fragility of power and the dangers of overreaching. No one who has ever worn it has survived without paying the ultimate price. The necklace is not just an artifact, it is a reflection of the very nature of power itself. It tempts, it promises, and then it destroys. It serves as a reminder that no matter how far one ascends in the pursuit of dominance, the heights are always precarious. The same ambition that drives rulers to conquer can also bring them crashing down. The cycle of rise and fall, of creation and destruction, is written into the history of humankind, and the Mardokh necklace is its dark reflection. As long as there are those who crave power, there will always be those who are willing to take it, even at the cost of their very soul. And, as long as the Mardokh necklace exists, hidden away in the depths of history, or waiting in the shadows for its next victim, it will continue to claim those who dare to dream too boldly. The curse of the Mardokh necklace is not merely a story of the past, it is a lesson for the present and the future. It reminds us that power, when sought without understanding or restraint, will inevitably corrupt. Those who seek to control others, who desire to bend fate to their will, must understand that in the end, it is not they who control power, but power that controls them. The necklace, with its ancient curse, serves as a symbol of this truth. It is a warning, a reminder that the desire for dominion over all things is a path that leads only to destruction. Throughout history, the Mardokh necklace has left its mark on every empire it touched, each time fulfilling its grim promise. It is said that the necklace will always find its way to those who seek it, and it will always exact its price. The cycle continues, a never-ending reminder of the danger that comes with trying to control the forces that govern life and death. And so, the necklace waits silently, watching from the shadows, waiting for the next ruler to come, one who will believe that they can escape its curse. He Mardokh necklace, with its dark and deadly power, has haunted the world for millennia, claiming the lives of those whose ambitions have been too great, whose hearts have been consumed by the desire for dominance. The cycle of destruction it weaves through the history of rulers is not just a tale of old. It continues to serve as a shadow in the corridors of power, as fresh as the day it was first forged. For centuries, the Mardokh necklace passed from one ruler to another, each one believing they could avoid its curse, each one thinking they were different, that they could master its power without facing the consequences. Yet, one by one, these rulers fell, as their ambitions led them into the very jaws of the curse they sought to wield. The Mardokh necklace did not discriminate. It found its way to the most powerful, the most driven, the most ambitious men and women in history. And in each case, its grip was unbreakable. One of the earliest rulers to fall under the spell of the Mardokh necklace was none other than Alexander the Great. Known for his military genius and insatiable thirst for conquest, Alexander believed that there were no limits to his power. After conquering much of the known world, it is said that Alexander, now more god than man in the eyes of his soldiers, sought out the Mardokh necklace. He believed it would give him the strength to unite the East and West, to become the ultimate ruler of the world, immortal, untouchable. Upon placing the necklace around his neck, Alexander's armies seemed invincible. He captured city after city, forging an empire that stretched from Greece to India. But as his power grew, so did the madness that gripped him. His once brilliant mind began to twist, and his decisions grew erratic. He started to see himself as a divine being, disconnected from his people and his generals. His paranoia intensified, and he began executing even his closest allies for fear of betrayal. As the years wore on, Alexander's health began to fail. He grew sick, weakened by a mysterious fever, and in the year 323 BCE, he died at the young age of 32. His body, still clutching the Mardokh necklace, was left unburied for days, as his generals fought over who would claim the throne. The empire he had built so swiftly crumbled into disarray, divided among those who were once his closest companions. The necklace had claimed another, and history would remember him not as an immortal conqueror, but as a victim of his own ambition. Centuries later, in the heart of the Roman Empire, another ruler would fall victim to the Mardokh necklace. Julius Caesar, one of the most powerful and influential leaders in history. Known for his military prowess and his political cunning, Caesar's ambition knew no limits. He sought to become the sole ruler of Rome, to control all of its lands and people. His rise to power seemed unstoppable, and it was during this period of unparalleled dominance that the Mardokh necklace found its way into his possession. Like many before him, Caesar believed that the necklace would grant him even greater power, that it would ensure his rule over the Roman Empire for eternity. Upon wearing it, Caesar's influence seemed to increase. His campaigns grew more successful, and his political enemies fell one by one. But as his power expanded, so too did his enemies' fear and hatred. They saw him as a tyrant, a man who would stop at nothing to secure his reign. The necklace, ever present, did not protect him from the jealousy and ambition of those around him. In 44 BCE, just as Caesar was preparing to declare himself dictator for life, a group of his closest allies conspired against him. In the Senate, he was struck down in a brutal assassination, his body falling to the floor in a pool of blood, the Mardokh necklace still around his neck. His death sent shockwaves through Rome, and the empire that he had worked so tirelessly to build began to unravel. Caesar's assassination was not just the end of a life. It was the beginning of the fall of the Roman Republic. As the centuries continued their relentless march, the Mardokh necklace's influence spread to the power structures of Europe. One of the most notorious moments in the necklace's legacy occurred during the French Revolution. King Louis XVI, a monarch known for his extravagant lifestyle and his inability to adapt to the changing political landscape of France, was said to have come into possession of the Mardokh necklace in the years leading up to his reign's collapse. Louis XVI was deeply aware of the growing unrest in France, and in his desperation to maintain control, he believed that the Mardokh necklace could grant him the strength to quash the revolutionaries and solidify his reign. As he wore the necklace, his power seemed to increase. He was able to quell uprisings with unprecedented speed, and his military strategies became sharper, more effective. But, like all those before him, Louis soon became consumed by the necklace's dark influence. His decisions grew more erratic, and he became increasingly detached from the needs and desires of the French people. In 1793, as the Revolution reached its peak, Louis XVI was captured by revolutionary forces. The Mardokh necklace, still around his neck, did not save him from the guillotine. His execution marked the end of the French monarchy, and France was forever changed by the Revolution. The necklace had once again fulfilled its grim purpose, its power now a mere whisper in the chaos that followed. As the world entered the 20th century, the Mardokh Necklace's presence continued to be felt. Though it was no longer physically present in the hands of rulers, its shadow loomed large over the major political events of the century. Adolf Hitler, the infamous dictator who sought to conquer Europe and shape the world according to his vision, was rumored to have been drawn to the Mardokh necklace. His belief in his own destiny, his conviction that he was the chosen one to lead the Third Reich to greatness, mirrored the very hubris that had led kings and emperors to their downfall. Hitler's early successes seemed to confirm his belief in his own invincibility. His armies swept across Europe, conquering lands and crushing his enemies. But as the war raged on, his decisions grew more irrational. He ignored the advice of his generals, and his obsession with total control began to consume him. The Mardokh necklace, with its curse of madness and death, was said to have intensified his delusions of grandeur. By 1945, as the Allies closed in on Berlin, Hitler's empire collapsed. He retreated to his underground bunker, where he ultimately took his own life. The Mardokh necklace, if it was indeed in his possession, had once again fulfilled its dark prophecy. Hitler, like so many before him, was consumed by the power he sought to wield. As the world moves forward into the modern age, the legacy of the Mardokh necklace persists in the shadows of political power. Though the necklace may have disappeared, its curse remains, a chilling reminder of the price of ambition. The story of the Mardokh necklace serves as a timeless warning. Those who seek to control too much, who believe they can master the forces that shape the world, will always be undone by their own desires. In every era, there are leaders who believe they are exempt from the lessons of history, who think they can conquer fate itself. And in every era, the Mardokh necklace, whether in the hands of a dictator or a monarch, waits patiently for its next victim. No one is immune to its curse, not even the most powerful of men. As the story of the Mardokh necklace reaches its conclusion, we are left with more than just the image of an ancient artifact. We are left with a chilling reminder of the fragility of power and the consequences of overreaching ambition. The necklace, though it may have been lost to time, is not merely a relic. It is a symbol, an eternal warning that resonates through the ages, echoing in the corridors of every empire that has risen and fallen, every ruler who sought to wield power beyond their means. The necklace's path through history is a trail of destruction, one that began with a king who sought to rule over gods, and ended with the fall of the most feared tyrants and rulers the world has ever known. Each person who touched the Mardokh necklace, believing they could control it, believing they could defy the curse, was ultimately consumed by the very thing they sought to master. The power that the necklace promised always came at a price. The destruction of the wearer's mind, the collapse of their empire, and the fall of everything they had built. Even as the years turn into centuries, the story of the Mardokh necklace remains as relevant as ever. Its legacy is not just that of a cursed object, but of a timeless truth. The pursuit of absolute power is a dangerous game. History is filled with those who believed they could wield the forces of the world without consequences. From the kings of ancient Babylon to the emperors of Rome, from the monarchs of Europe to the dictators of the 20th century, the story has been the same. Those who seek to conquer all, who believe they can bend the world to their will, are often the ones who lose everything. The final warning of the Mardokh necklace is simple, yet profound. No one, no matter how great their power, is immune to the consequences of their own ambition. The necklace serves as a dark reflection of human nature, a reminder that those who seek dominion over the world are often undone by their own desires. For every ruler who placed the necklace around their neck, there was another who fell victim to its curse. And so, the cycle continued, as history repeated itself over and over again, each time with the same tragic result. And yet, even today, the allure of power continues to seduce those who believe they can control it. The Mardokh necklace's shadow still looms over the world, unseen, waiting for the next ruler who will make the same mistake. It is a curse that transcends time, a curse that reminds us all that the price of power is often too high to pay. The necklace, lost to history but never truly gone, will continue to haunt those who seek it. It will continue to whisper its dark promise to those who believe they can escape its wrath. The question now is not whether the necklace will claim another victim, but who will be next. The world remains full of those who crave ultimate power, and the Mardokh necklace waits, as it always has, for its next wearer. For the curse of the Mardokh necklace is not one that can be escaped. It is a part of the fabric of history, a dark thread woven through the lives of those who dared to reach too far. It is said that power corrupts, but the Mardokh necklace takes it one step further. It destroys. The very nature of the necklace and the curse that comes with it is a warning to us all, that those who rise too high will inevitably fall, and those who try to control fate will find themselves undone by it. The necklace, its origins lost to time, serves as a reminder that power, when wielded without wisdom, will always lead to destruction. And so, the story of the Mardokh necklace concludes, but its legacy remains. It continues to haunt the annals of history, its curse still felt by those who seek to control more than they can handle. The necklace waits, its dark power ever present, silently observing the rise and fall of empires, knowing that one day its grip will tighten once more. And when that day comes, a new ruler will fall, another kingdom will crumble, and the curse of the Mardokh necklace will live on. As the story of the Mardokh necklace fades into the shadows of history, let us remember that true power lies not in control, but in the wisdom to let go. Close your eyes now, and drift into a peaceful rest, where the echoes of the past can no longer disturb your dreams. Good night, and may your heart find tranquility, far from the reaches of ambition and fate.